What's going on, everybody? This is Soulful, bringing you guys another episode of Surviving Mars. In the previous episode, we went ahead and we set down the foundation for the first dome, as well as we started outfitting it with the buildings that we wanted to have installed inside the dome. So what this is actually going to be a video of is basically a time-lapse video of us getting everything all associated and completed with the new dome that has been created. As you can see, the robots are building the structures on the inside. That was the apartment that just got completed, and we just have the infirmary and the restaurant to go. I'm just basically just doing some basic management, making the transport robots transport the materials that the robots would need to get everything situated. We're also going to go ahead and do some other associated things as part of research, allocation, getting everything queued up for the research, making sure we send out the Explorer robot to go ahead and look for more anomalies. So this is definitely going to be just a quick time-lapse video. I'm going to come back when we move on to the next section. So hope you guys enjoy. Alright, so right here the robots have finally finished building all the structures for the inside of the dome. The restaurant's been completed, the infirmary has been completed. Now I'm moving to the structures for what they're going to be doing as part of their job duties on the outside of the dome. And if you have been watching this particular series, you would know I said in, I think, the second episode that anytime that you notice a deposit, like a rare metals deposit or a regular metals deposit, you can actually put multiple different extractors to those actual deposits as long as they're within inside the cone. As you saw, I went ahead and I put down two rare metals extractors. Those can only be installed next to domes because they have to be manned by people. And we're getting to that point where we're almost ready to start bringing in colonists to this actual dome. We go ahead and also put down a metals deposit extractor right here because we're starting to get low on the surface metals, and I want to make sure we have an abundance of metal on hand so that way we can make sure any type of maintenance that's required for the domes or the buildings or the structures that are inside, we have the materials and the metals for those to be completed. Alright, so we're getting that laid out, and definitely they are going to go ahead and start getting that done and get some more materials transferred over using the transport robots. So we're going to go ahead and allocate that up. I also did notice that we were starting to run low on power, so this is where we're going to go ahead and do a actual resupply rocket. Right now I'm just going to go ahead and just buy a whole bunch of Sterling generators, so that way we can have them all situated and allocated in a small little area. That's going to be our power hub, and that's going to be basically the power we're going to need for the Sea Future at this point. We're going to probably have multiple power hubs, but right now we want to go ahead and start getting that situated, make sure we have enough materials, everything brought up, because like I said in previous episodes, if you're going to send out for a supply rocket, you might as well have an abundance of materials on stockpile. As you can see, the stock areas are actually starting to fill up, so that's actually a good thing.
Research complete. Sector scanned. Cable fault reported.
The rover went dark for 5 hours. When it rebooted, it confirmed it had come into contact with an unusually high voltage electrical charge.
Alright, so as you were informed, we sent out the Explorer robot to go ahead and search an anomaly, and because it took a high voltage charge, it basically destroyed the robot. So now I have to send out the RC commander so that way the little drone robots can repair him, and that way we don't actually just lose that actual robot, because I definitely need it. So we're going to go ahead and send the RC commander up here to get those repairs completed. And we actually gained quite a bit. We actually gained about $200 million worth of funding based on that anomaly discovery, but it did harm the robot. So there's a give and there's a take, but at least we can repair the robot so it doesn't completely destroy it. And I think it even kicked up like a, well, we were already inside an electrified dust storm, so definitely that was something else that was going on in the background. As you can see, it's all hazy, and I'm starting to get used to playing with the haze of the dust storms constantly being around. At this point, I actually realized that the warnings that I'm getting for no oxygen, no water, and no power is primarily because I have not actually connected the tunnel on the other end to all the other resources. So here we are making sure that's all situated and getting that all allocated and connected. Once we get that connected, everything should be completely connected from all the production zones over to the new dome.
Sector scanned.
Okay, so right here, the power cables and all the connections have all been completed. This is where we get to the point where we don't have enough power. Luckily, the supply ship was ready to be land, so we went ahead and set it down on its landing pad. I go ahead and instantly we set up a little Starling generator farm right here, so that way we can get them built, and they're easily already prefabricated, so they don't need any additional materials. We just need to make sure that they're connected. So I run an extra power cable just to go ahead and make sure those ones on the back side are all connected, and we still have room where we can put another row of Starling generators on the other side of that cable. So definitely we have an area where we can expand, so that's definitely good.
Sector scanned. Stable fault reported. Sector scanned. Research complete. Pipe leak reported.
Alright, so right here I go ahead and I request for the transport robot to bring over some machine parts. Once he drops off the machine parts, they start building up those extractors. Once they have been installed, we instantly turn them off because we don't have any people on Mars yet to go ahead and man them. So we just power them down so they don't actually use extra energy as part of the power grid. But they are there. As long as they're sitting there, they're actually taking in wear and tear because the element, the dust from Mars. So they will automatically, once we turn them on, require maintenance. And that's just a usual customness of playing this game. Even if you turn off a facility, it's still going to take damage and it's going to require maintenance once it gets turned back on, so that way it work properly. So that is something that I was aware of, but I mean right now we don't want them to use up power, so we want to make sure they're disabled from the power grid. Alright, so right here I'm actually going to go ahead and add a farm to the dome as one of the spaces that we had left remaining. What this is allows the occupants inside the dome to grow food, and this is probably the most useful structure that you will have inside of a dome. You can even to the point where you have a colony where you have a humongous mega dome that all it does is just farm. You can filter it by the actual particular trait of botanists, and then just have nothing but botanists live in this one dome, and the only thing they do is farm for food. And then once you have other technologies like shuttle hubs, they'll be able to transport the food from that one particular dome to other domes that are in your community. Right now we're adding some gardening areas because you know you want to keep the sanity of your actual occupants of your colony down, and the best way to do that is to give them some serene areas that they can go to and relax and even socialize and even work out. So this is also a good way to do that. I usually don't put many, but because we're trying to fill up this space right now, we're just go ahead and do that. And we still have 2 more slots open, so if we had to add like another building or even another living building, we can definitely be able to do that as well. Alright, so right here what we are going to go ahead and do, I'm actually setting up the filters for the actual colony ship that we're going to go ahead and send out or send up, and we want to go ahead and make sure we have the right, you know, saying age group of colonists that we're going to bring in. We want to bring in a bunch of youths and adults. We don't want to bring in many individuals that are older because we want them to be able to last for a little bit of time on Mars before they get too old and cannot actually work. So this is the different little traits and the different filters that you can set up. Basically right now with me doing these filters, you in the beginning, the best thing to do is just turn off no specializations. So the people that get sent up are all specialized in a specific actual task, or so that way if you want them to go and mine for rare metals, you want to have your geologists. If you want to have that farm, you want to have your botanists. We put in an infirmary, so you got to have some medics. Um, Officers, you don't really necessarily need until you start seeing problems with colonists becoming renegades. If you have a bunch of renegades, then you're going to have to put in a security tower, and that can change that. So right now, we just set up the filters. We're making sure we got everything queued up for the research. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and let this video end. Hope you guys enjoyed. Smack the like button if you do. Subscribe if you haven't. And I'll catch you guys later.